Cindy. Today I'm going to start a new series of videos where I'm going to show projects that I designed using Stampin' Up's Peony Garden Suite. So let's get started on project number 1. Now this first project is going to be a card where I'm going to show you the spotlighting technique. I'm going to be using this stamp set here, which is the Prize Peony. I'll be using this large flower as well as this sentiment here. All right, let's start right away with our large stamp. So I'm going to take my stamp and my Memento ink. I'm going to ink up the back of the stamp. And then once it's all inked up, I'm going to press this onto this Whisper White cardstock. Now with a large stamp like this, you want to make sure that you press firmly all over the back of the stamp. And then I'm going to lift this up. This cardstock here was 2 3/4 by 3.5 inches. Okay, now with a traditional spotlighting technique, which is what I'm going to show you today, you would then take and stamp the image a second time. And then you would take the image and you would grab a punch, or this is one way to do a spotlighting technique. So you could grab a punch and you would punch out a certain part of the card that you wanted to spotlight. You would then color this and then you would reattach this onto the card and it would really just make this part pop. Now I'm going to show you how to do this if your circle is already punched. So this is how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to ink it up with my black ink. And then there's a couple different ways. First, I could just lay this down there and kind of eyeball it, or you can take this and then you carefully take your punch and you drop it over the section that you want to be spotlighted. Then I'm going to take a Post-it note, and where the sticky side is, I'm going to stick it over the back of that circle, and then I can just press really quickly so that all the ink will get transferred onto the punched circle. And once you press the ink on there really well, then you can just take the Post-it note and just lift it off. And then you can see that the image transferred nicely onto your circle. All right, so now we have our spotlight part completed. So now we're ready to do some coloring. So I'm gonna be using 2 Stampin' Blends markers, the dark petal pink and the light old olive. And this is gonna be just simple coloring. So now that this has been colored, we're ready to add this to a base. I'll be using a punch circle that's 2 1/4 inch circle that I punched out of the brass foil. I'm going to add some adhesive to the back and then I'm going to press these together. Then I'm going to flip this around. I will add some dimensionals. And now we're going to put this on, and it's kind of like putting a puzzle together. So I'm going to just look for the same print that's on the base there, and I'm going to make sure that it looks like it's lined up properly, and once I have it in the right spot, I'll just put it down like that. And you can see it has a nice spotlighted area. So now that this is completed, we're going to add a base. This is gray granite cardstock. I'm going to flip this over and get my adhesive, and then we'll mount this together. Okay, the next thing I want to use is one of our new square vellum doilies. So I have a piece of the doilies here because I've been cutting these up to use on various projects. So for this project here, I'm going to cut this so that I just have this edge of the doily. That's all we're going to need. And so I'm going to flip this around, and then I'm going to use our brand new Stampin' Seal adhesive. I'm going to just put a strip of that Stampin' Seal along the edge here. And then I'm going to carefully take the doily and I'm going to press it right along the edge of that adhesive so that it will just show a tiny little lace border on the edge like that. Okay, so let me move this out of the way so you can see a little better. All right, now for the base of the card, we're going to be using some of the Peony Garden Designer Series paper, and then I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of that. And then this is going to go here along the edge of the card. Now this is note card size, so this is a little bit smaller than our traditional card. So this is 3.5 inches by 5 inches, and this color is the petal pink. And so you'll see that when we're gonna put our sentiment on there, it's gonna be a really small area. And I really wanted this to be a thinking of you card, so I'm gonna be using this stamp here that says my thoughts are with you. So I wanna just move this out of the way, and you wanna make sure that when you stamp your sentiment, it's in the far bottom corner of the card so that it'll fit on there nicely. Okay, so now that's on there. So then I'm gonna flip this over and we'll add some dimensionals to the back. And then we're going to mount this onto the front like this. Okay, and then the last thing that we have to do for this card, well actually there's a couple more things, but let's mount this onto our card front. So we're gonna put this on here like this. The next thing I'm gonna do is take a Whisper White note card and I'm going to press this on, and this should cover the entire front of the note card. Okay, so the card is almost done. The last thing that we have to do is add our embellishments. These are one of my favorite new things in the catalog. These are our new elegant faceted gems. And for this, I'm going to put a variety of these on here. So I'm gonna put one of the pink ones up in the corner, and then I'm gonna put one of these frosted ones, a smaller one, right next to it. And then I'm gonna put another, let's see, I'll put a large one here underneath. And then I'm gonna put a small pink one right over here. Let's see, we'll put it right over here under there. And then I'm gonna put a clear one right over the O in the My Thoughts Are With You sentiment. Okay, so that looks good. So our card is complete. Let me show you a couple other samples so that you can see different places that were highlighted with that spotlight. So you can see here, you can see a little bit more of the flower bud. Over here, you're seeing more of the main peony image, but it really doesn't matter. You can choose whichever area that you want to spotlight, but it's just really a fun technique, and it's good for those of you guys who don't like to color because you only have to color a little tiny bit. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed learning how to do this technique, and I hope you enjoyed learning how to create project number 1. Now remember, this is just part 1, so be sure to come back and watch project number 2. Thanks so much for watching. Aloha.